Texas Southern AD, Charles McClelland. Thanks for being on the show, but B, taking a few minutes here to talk a little bit about what you're doing and what's going on at TSU.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Now, kind of starting off where we, at the beginning, I guess, a little bit, I think a lot of fans, to a certain degree, and I wonder how much you get this, they love the idea about being able to be the AD, being able to hire and fire the coach. I'd do this, I'd hire that guy, I'd make sure. Everybody knows you do the hiring and do the firing, obviously. That's sometimes the fun part, finding a great coach, but also the tough part, having to let people go. What are some of the non-glamorous things that you do day to day that, the average sports fan doesn't realize that's part of your job description?
Well, probably the most public is the hiring and firing, but college athletics is just like professional athletics. It's a business.
Sure.
Now, our end product is graduating student athletes and then second winning championships, but going out, building budgets, making sure that you have compliance in place, which is huge for collegiate athletics. But most of my time is really built on relationships, going out trying to get sponsorships to build the program, going out trying to get facilities, funding for facilities. So from a day-to-day perspective, there's a lot of interaction with the student athletes, making sure that the academic programs are set up. The hiring and the firing and the games on Saturdays are some of the most glamorous pieces of it, but it's so much that goes into it throughout the course of the week.
Now, there's a big project underway, obviously, with you and Houston's own Houston Dynamo, our soccer team here. Tell us a little bit about the stadium that's being built, how it's going to affect Texas Southern, and what you see down the road here that's going to be coming up for it.
Well, that is the singular most significant event for Texas Southern University athletics department. It's a 23,000 seat facility.
Looking stadium.
It's going to have 34 suites. It's an $85 million project. Us and the Houston Dynamo have entered into the agreement along with the city of Houston and the county. And it's going to be an opportunity for us to be able to have one of the best facilities, not only in our conference, but this region. I mean, you're talking about state-of-the-art, where we can do anything that we want. And as we continue to move into big-time college athletics, you have to have the proper facilities. It's going to generate for us an additional $1.2 million a year as far as revenue of ticket sales, sponsorships, concessions, the whole gamut. So it's something that we have needed. Texas Southern has been a transient program. We play in a high school stadium right now, and that's the best that we could do because our stadium only holds about 3,500 individuals with no amenities. So to have this deal for all involved to allow Texas Southern to be a part of this deal is monumental for our program.
Now let's talk a little big picture here, college athletics, realignment going on, a lot of moving around. Where do you see the college football landscape in 5 years?
I think the 4 super conferences are inevitable, and I think you'll see it before the 5-year time frame. Now, a lot of fingers can be pointed at Texas A&M, but Texas A&M felt that they were in a position of they had to move first, and they took some criticism early on. But I think as you can see now, 2 or 3 weeks after the move, you can see that Texas A&M actually took a preemptive strike. The SEC versus the Pac-12. We talked a little bit about the Pac-12 and the Pac-16, but it comes down to dollars. Texas A&M is sharing from the Big 12 anywhere between $10 to $15 million a year. Going to the SEC, they're going to share well over $35 to $40 million. Wow. When you look at the Pac-12, right now the Pac-12 is sharing $35 million. So with the addition of an Oklahoma, with the addition of a Texas, that revenue is going to go up. And make no mistake about it, all of it is about dollars and a lot of dollars.
Unfortunately, I guess it's always about that, no matter what level you're at. Now, kind of finishing up here, the realignment thought. There's some talk, and I've kind of been a thought process and kind of my hypothesis of how this might end up. What's the probability of, we're at a stage now where we have 4 16-team conferences. We got a lot of, obviously, the top schools in the country together. What's the chances of it saying, hey, listen, we don't really need the NCAA anymore. We'd rather do things this way. What's the ability for those schools to break out of the NCAA? And B, what would be the benefits, and how likely do you see that happening?
Well, I think it's definitely a possibility. every school pays $1,800 to be a part of the NCAA. So if you don't want to be a part of the NCAA, you send them a letter, you put your $1,800 in your pocket, and you move on. The NCAA technically is made up of all of us, all of the schools. So we set the rules, and we supposedly follow the rules. If you have 4 super conferences, now, you know, the question has been asked, you have other sports. Some programs have 32 sports. Why is football driving everything? And it comes down to revenue. And if these 4 super conferences with 16 teams apiece decide that they want to break off and start their own, they're going to hold all of the cards. I think the NCAA will work with all of those entities because
try to make it into what they want.
Yeah, I think the NCAA is going to be almost forced to make those conferences do what they want them to do, and they're going to have to work together to alleviate it because the conferences will hold all of the power.
Last question, real quick. Where's TSU in 5 years, 10 years?
Hopefully, we are progressing to an FBS program as well. You know, with the addition of the facilities, we've gotten our graduation rates up. We struggle with graduation rates. We're now at 48%, up from 32%. We're going to be at 60% in 3 years, and we've had some traditional problems. Our enrollment now is up at 10,000, so we've corrected a lot of the problems. Our programs are winning now, and we want to continue, and we want to compete at that highest level.
Dr. McClelland, thanks for going on one.
All right, thank you for having me.
All right.